What we're witnessing right now could be the most critical moment in modern British royal history. Imagine this: British taxpayers funding a rival royal operation on UK soil, led by someone who spent years attacking the very institution he once belonged to. This isn't just drama. This is an existential threat to the monarchy itself.
For this duplicitous traitor to set up a rival royal court in the United Kingdom,
Prince William finds himself in an impossible position. On one side, he's supporting his wife Catherine through her health challenges. On the other, he's watching his own brother systematically work to undermine everything he's trying to build. And make no mistake, William isn't just protecting his own interests here.
and it's no surprise that William feels that way, is it? I mean, he is literally trying to save.
He's attempting to save and modernize the British monarchy for future generations. But at every single turn, he faces obstacles from within his own family. First, there's the Prince Andrew disaster that refuses to go away. Then, there's his brother Harry and Meghan Markle, who've built an entire media empire on false racism allegations designed to destroy the royal family's credibility. And perhaps most frustratingly, his own father, King Charles, keeps making decisions that, however well-intentioned, complicate everything.
The British monarchy. And at every step of the way, his father, whether it's in relation to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, or his treacherous brother, and his wife Meghan, who, remember, is trying to bring down the British royal family altogether.
Sources are now briefing journalists that they believe Harry's police protection will be restored. If this turns out to be true, everything changes. Everything. Harry has spent millions pursuing this case, calling it his most important legal battle. But why does this single issue matter so much?
That they believe Harry's police protection will be restored. If this turns out to be true, it changes absolutely everything.
Because it completely destroys the establishment's long-term strategy for dealing with Harry, which was essentially exile and irrelevance. Think about the historical precedent. Edward VIII, later Duke of Windsor, was effectively neutralized through banishment after his abdication. He became irrelevant, powerless, forgotten. That was the blueprint for Harry. Without security, every trip back to the UK is complicated and expensive for Harry. He needs private security teams, complex logistics, advanced planning. It's a natural barrier that keeps him in California, where he can't cause daily problems for the working royals.
This is the fight Harry has spent millions of dollars pursuing, the case he himself described as the most important of all. Why does it matter so much? Because it blows apart what many insiders assumed was the establishment's long-term plan for dealing with Harry: exile.
It's containment through practical difficulty. But if Harry wins back his security, exile is over. Done. Finished. He can come and go from the UK whenever he wants at no personal cost. More importantly, he may regain international protected person status, which means UK government security worldwide. This isn't really about money, though the costs will be enormous. It's about perception, legitimacy, and power.
But if Harry gets his security back, exile is effectively over. He can come and go from the UK at will at no personal cost. He may also regain international protected person status.
Here's what really bothers William, and it should bother all of us. When Harry gets whisked through London with police motorcade escorts, what message does that send? It tells the world he's still a legitimate, important member of the royal family. It gives him official status and gravitas he hasn't earned and doesn't deserve. Security coverage would reopen doors that have been firmly shut for years. And here's something crucial that sources have revealed. Harry intends to educate his children in England. There was even talk about Eton being considered. Why? Because he wants to establish them as members of the British royal family.
That Harry intends to educate his children in England. It would be hugely expensive, but cost is not really the issue bothering his brother. The real issue is the impression of legitimacy. Harry, being whisked through London with a police escort, sends a particular message about his position. Security coverage for him and his family would reopen many doors
to give them that heritage and those connections. But there's another factor at play here, and the irony is almost too much to handle. Harry claims he's worried about gun crime in the United States. Yes, you heard that right. The man who chose to move to America, who claims to love his life there, is apparently terrified of American gun violence. You can't make this up. A victory on security enables Harry's return, but not as a humble, apologetic prodigal son seeking forgiveness. No, he returns as the head of a parallel court, trading on royal status while remaining entirely free from royal discipline, duty, or oversight. For William and Catherine, who are preparing for their eventual reign, this is an absolute nightmare scenario.
I was once told wrongly, Harry himself later said, that Eton was being considered, but my sources remain convinced that he wants them back in the UK. Partly this is about establishing them as members of the British royal family, but another factor is Harry's anxiety about gun crime in the United States. The irony here, folks, I can't deal with it. A victory on security will enable a return not as a contrite prodigal, but as the head of a parallel court.
For Harry, this is a massive opportunity because, let's be honest, things haven't gone the way the Sussexes hoped in America. Their commercial ventures have struggled or completely failed. Netflix deals that promised so much delivered so little. Spotify famously dropped them. The charity Archewell has been shuttered and restructured amid questions about finances and impact. Harry wouldn't be the first Brit to return home from the United States with his tail between legs, having learned that American dreams don't always work out. But he would be returning with lessons learned, ready to apply American-style celebrity entrepreneurship to the British market, where his royal connections still hold value. Winning security back gives him the chance to do exactly that without massive upfront costs. And money is going to be a crucial theme for the Sussexes this year. Sources close to Harry remain nervous about political interference, fearing a last-minute setup. But the reality is, it's becoming very hard to see how this doesn't end with Harry getting exactly what he wants. And that should concern everyone who cares about the monarchy's future.
For Harry, it is a huge opportunity. Things have not gone the way the Sussexes hoped in America. Commercial ventures have faltered, the charity has been shuttered and restructured. Harry wouldn't be the first Brit to return home from the US with his tail between his legs, but resolved to apply the lessons of America at home. Winning security back will give him the chance to do that without massive upfront costs, and money is going to be an important theme for the Sussexes this year. Sources close to Harry remain nervous. They fear a last-minute stitch-up by Ravek, even if the risk management board rules in his favour. They are not quite ready to declare victory, but my view is that it is hard to see how this doesn't end with.
This is exactly why many warned King Charles, don't sit down with him. Don't do what your heart tells you is the compassionate, fatherly thing to do. Because Harry made his choice when he left, when he did those interviews, when he wrote that book attacking his family. That meeting, even though it lasted less than half an hour, even though Harry had to use the staff entrance, legitimized Harry's position and objectives. It sent a signal that reconciliation might be possible, that there's still a path back to royal status without accountability. Charles, you have to ask yourself, are you actually trying to make William's life this difficult? Do you genuinely want the monarchy to survive beyond your reign? Because history has shown us, through the Duke of Windsor example, that when a royal becomes this wayward, this destructive, and remember, the Duke and Wallis Simpson were literal Nazi sympathizers, the only way to deal with them is through firm boundaries. Never welcome them back fully. Never legitimize their competing agenda. Never give them the platform to sow discord and manipulate public opinion. Charles's compassion, while admirable as a father, may prove catastrophic for the institution he's sworn to protect.
Do not sit down with this dude. Do not do what you think is the right thing here, because Harry made his choice. And that meeting, albeit less than half an hour, albeit the fact Harry had to use the back entrance, usually reserved for staff, legitimized Harry's goals, legitimized Harry's aims. And Charles, are you really trying to make life that difficult for William? Do you actually want the monarchy to survive? Because as the Duke of Windsor proves, the only way to deal with a royal so wayward, so despicable in their views.
Royal biographer Angela Levin, who knows Harry well, expresses genuine concern that should resonate with all of us. She can tell from her extensive knowledge of Harry that he's not interested in the British people, not interested in his father's well-being, not interested in his brother's challenges. This is purely about revenge and settling scores. And if Harry can get his revenge, he will make Meghan as powerful as possible. That prospect genuinely terrifies people who understand the dynamics at play. King Charles, whom Angela admires greatly, needs to figure out how to manage this impossible situation. He cannot enable Harry's agenda while also protecting William and the institution. Every time Harry has returned to see his father, particularly during Charles's cancer treatment, it's been hurtful and stressful. It actually makes Charles ill again, which isn't surprising, because Harry hasn't apologized. Not once. Not a single apology for any of it. Why? Because in his mind, he believes he's completely right and everyone else is wrong.
Very concerned about it because I can tell from how well I know Harry that he's not interested in us, the people of this country or abroad. He's not interested in his father. He's not interested in his brother. He's not interested in anyone. This is to get his own back. And if he can get his own back, he will make Meghan powerful as can be. And that absolutely terrifies me. It's a nonsense. I think King Charles, who, as you know, I like enormously, he's got to work out how he can manage it. He can't be with him. I think Harry's, all the time he's gone back to see him, which is not many, but the time he's gone back while he's had cancer, has been very hurtful for his father. It makes him ill again. And I'm not surprised because he's not going to apologize. Not one apology.
Angela gets emotional about this because she genuinely loves the royal family and can see how Harry could destroy it. And here's the real long-term concern. When King Charles eventually passes, whether from illness or natural causes, Harry's target becomes William entirely. William already has enormous challenges. He's supporting Catherine through her health issues, which is absolutely the right priority. But this won't be easy because Harry knows how the palace works. He knows the pressure points. He knows the media game. He'll position himself one step ahead, concentrating on creating difficulties until there's a crisis situation. And if Harry could actually get rid of William, force him to step back, or make his position untenable, he would be absolutely delighted. This isn't speculation. This is a calculated long-term strategy playing out in real time.
And William has a big problem with his looking after his wife. Absolutely the right thing to do. But this is not going to be easy because Harry knows how the house works. And he will make sure that he's got one better, one beforehand. And he will actually concentrate on that.
Here's what's infuriating about this entire situation. We keep hearing tough talk, strategic briefings, media manipulation suggesting the palace is taking a firm line. But where's the actual action to back it up? There's no point in talking tough if you're going to give Harry everything he demands anyway. The briefings say one thing, the anonymous sources suggest firm boundaries, but then Harry gets his security restored, gets his meetings, gets his legitimacy. It's pure hypocrisy, and it undermines William's position constantly.
So what I am sick of, Angela, and I'm going to be very blunt about this, is the tough talk, the briefing and the twisting and the manipulation of the mainstream media without the action to back it up. There's no point talking tough and then giving Harry every goddamn thing that he wants.
Now let's talk about this stalker situation that's been used to justify Harry's security needs. We're told there's a female stalker who poses a threat. But here's what we haven't heard. Any evidence she was armed, any physical attacks, any weapons, any actual dangerous behavior. Nothing concrete. We're simply supposed to believe Harry deserves taxpayer-funded security costing millions because someone follows his public appearances. Look, anyone traveling around the world to see Prince Harry is probably a bit obsessed, perhaps a bit weird. But being weird doesn't equal being dangerous. And when the Mail on Sunday really talked up this stalker threat, they played directly into Harry's narrative. They gave credibility to claims that should have been scrutinized more carefully. It's exactly what Harry needed to justify his security demands.
This black female stalker who apparently posed such a threat to Harry, Angela. But of course, we haven't heard anything about her being armed or about her physically attacking Harry or having a weapon. None of that, Angela. We're just meant to believe that Harry deserves the security paid for by us, which is going to cause massive issues for Prince William for years to come because he has a stalker, a female stalker. Now, you'd have to be a bit of a stalker weirdo, as I've always said, to want to travel around the world to see.
Until now, Harry's been looked after very well by professional protection guards. Suddenly, there's talk about guns, about armed security. Why? Harry doesn't need a gun. He was determined to have armed protection, and they let him get away with it. The truth is, people aren't that interested in Harry anymore. The public has largely moved on. But he's building himself up as some kind of power unit, creating this image of importance and threat level that doesn't match reality. And allowing this narrative to continue unchallenged is deeply problematic.
To move things around, and that's what's happening, and you can't have it. You just cannot. What worries me is that up till now, Harry has been looked after by protection guards very well, and now suddenly there's a gun. He doesn't need a gun. He was determined to have a gun, and I feel extremely annoyed that they let him get away with it because he doesn't need it at all. People aren't interested in him anymore.
Let's examine Meghan's American Riviera Orchard brand, because the numbers tell a devastating story. Within 12 hours, she sold just 20 of her signature fruit spread boxes. 20. Being generous, that means over 24 hours she might sell 40 boxes, but she has 435 boxes in inventory. At that sales rate, it would take her 9 years to sell through her current stock. 9 years. This is surely one of the biggest business failures of all time. The public simply isn't buying what they're selling, literally or figuratively. All the celebrity connections, all the media attention, all the royal association, none of it translates to commercial success. The market has spoken, and it's said no thanks.
But now we know, Angela, we know that people are not buying this product. I mean, she sold 20 of the signature fruit spread boxes within 12 hours. So being kind, Angela, that means that she would sell 40 over the course of 24 hours. But given that she has 137,435 of these in stock, it would take her 9 years to sell the inventory. I mean, this is surely, Angela, now one of the biggest business failures of all time.
Let's go back to the beginning of this story. When Meghan joined the royal family, she decided she was extremely important, but had no interest in royal work or service. She positioned herself as powerful and allegedly treated staff appallingly. Stories emerged about her calling staff at 4 a.m., demanding they cook cakes before doing anything else. Reports of terrible behavior toward employees. On the surface, there might be hugs and smiles, but those who worked with her tell a different story. And when you hear that Harry himself told her to stop being so rude and harsh to staff members, you realize how serious the problem was. That's absolutely appalling behavior that should never be excused or forgotten.
And the whole thing goes back to the beginning where Meghan decided that she was now very, very important and with the royal family, but no work with the royal family, that she actually is powerful and has to shout at them, ringing them at 4 o'clock in the morning and asking them to cook a cake, before they do anything else. And she does treat people appallingly badly. She does pretend, kiss, cuddle, but none of that means anything. When you hear that Harry has told her to stop being so.
This security decision represents far more than police protection. It's about the future structure of the British monarchy, about whether a parallel royal court can operate with all the privileges and none of the responsibilities. It's about whether Harry and Meghan can have their cake and eat it too, attacking the institution while benefiting from its prestige. King Charles must make difficult decisions prioritizing the institution over his personal feelings. William needs support, not additional obstacles. Because if this continues unchecked, the consequences will be devastating not just for the royal family, but for British constitutional heritage itself. The monarchy has survived for over 1,000 years by adapting, by making hard choices, by putting duty above personal sentiment. This is one of those critical moments where those principles must guide action. The question is, will they?